To the cloud. Ta-da! Good day, Barbara. I guess first you need to teach me how to actually say the name of this. Is it Egusi or Agusi?
Well, I say Egusi. Egusi.
Someone gave me this shirt from Africa, so I don't know.
Oh, good for you. Looks like East Africa.
I've been lamenting that the time zone makes it hard for us to get food from Africa. And you stepped forward and you said that you've lived in Africa for how many years?
Almost 20 years.
And so hopefully you picked up a little bit of knowledge and can share this recipe. Why did you pick this recipe?
Well, I picked this one because it's pretty simple, and most people do like it. And mostly that Egusi soup. I looked around for some different things, but well, one of the things that they always have is something called jollof rice, which is kind of a Spanish rice with a fried plantain. But I thought that they'd already done something like that. Mm-hmm. So I thought Egusi, you wanted something really African. So that is very African.
So Egusi is just dried, ground up pumpkin seeds.
Right, that's what it is.
So I went to the International Grocery. I had the list of ingredients. And I was in a rush yesterday. I went there and I'm walking out. I'm in the aisle getting ready to pay. And the guy there said, "What are you making?" And I said, "Egusi." And he's like, "Well, you forgot the Egusi." So literally I had bought everything else on the list except the pumpkin seeds.
So did you buy the real pumpkin seeds or did you buy ground up Egusi?
Well, no, it says ground melon seeds.
Okay, so that's the Egusi itself.
So you can.
That's why it's so much easier to just buy it like that at the African store. And then you can put it in the freezer for a year or whatever, you know, and it's still good.
Now, I grew up, my mom always got she would do pumpkin seeds and watermelon seeds and dry them and we'd eat them. They were like a snack. But I've never had it like ground up. I like that idea to like give flavor and thicken the soup.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I lived in Ghana and I lived in Nigeria, but mostly I lived in Nigeria. But I lived in Ghana for a year. I was a teacher there. And then I moved on to Nigeria, and this was during what you call like a gold rush. Oh yeah, FuFu powder. I was that's the same thing I have. So
they had a choice of two. This one says plantain on it, and the other one said something I didn't recognize.
Cocoa yam.
Yep, that one.
Yeah, I usually use the cocoa yam, but you can use the plantain. That's fine. But they make different kinds of pounded starches using cassava and plantain and yam and all kinds of stuff. And she was saying that when she was in East Africa, they ate kind of a corn. What was it called?
Yeah, it's ugali. Ugali is a cornmeal, and you just.
Yeah, it works the same way. You can take it with your hand and dip it into the soup.
I mean, FuFu is kind of like a really thick mashed potato, right?
Well, mashed potato doesn't have it's too soft.
Okay.
That's why they don't use mashed potato. And yam has, it's not as sweet, and it has more of a harder starch.
Okay.
So that you can actually make balls out of it, and it's harder kind of thing. Whereas mashed potato is too soft, it just fall apart.
In the U.S., we hardly have yams either. They call sweet potatoes yams, but they're not really yams. So
right.
Yams are not so common in the U.S. like they are in Africa.
Right, and the yam is like one big, huge tuber that
Exactly.
has a very hard skin, like a bark almost, and you you really have to cut it off. And it is not and it can just lay in your storeroom for the ages, and it doesn't go bad.
Normally this recipe, you had I got the ground shrimp powder and you add shrimp and chicken but I have a challenge today because I'm going to a vegan potluck tonight. So I'm going to try to make two versions. I'm going to make, actually it's a open house at a farm, and they also have a potluck. And so the farm itself, they host cooking classes, and it's all vegan.
It's all vegan. Oh,
yeah. So the farm itself.
I need to go to this farm more.
their vegan cooking classes and all that. And they have a retreat center and all this stuff. So anyway, I'm going to a potluck. I bumped into someone at the farmer's market yesterday and they said, come. And I was like, you're gonna have to try to change this recipe a little bit.
Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to do the tomato base.
All right.
And that's why I have all the tomatoes, onions, ginger, whatever. And I'm going to put the tomatoes and the onion in the blender. Or I'm gonna have a food processor, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to get that kind of so it's not chunky. You know, I want it to be smooth. So that's what I'm going to do right now is start putting those things into the blender and blend those things up, because then we're going to start cooking it.
Which ones do we need to cut up? Well, let's see, the ingredients are onions, tomatoes, and then you can also do canned tomatoes and a couple different kinds. I couldn't get, I forget what kind of pepper you had on the list, but all I could get was poblanos or jalapenos.
Well, guess what? I didn't get habano in Nigeria. In the, this thing, they would stick 3 of those habano peppers in, and it would be pretty hot. But I forgot to get the habano, so I'm going to use jalapeno. Plus, Jane doesn't take it very hot, so I'm not going to make it hot. But I'm putting some sweet peppers in there, some onions, and then I'm going to come over here. I have a can of tomatoes. I'm going to add that.
So Barbara, before you move so quickly onto that, because I've been making my own, what is it, Egusi?
Egusi.
What's the quantity of the Egusi? So I don't, I've already done some, but.
Well, I'm going to use about a cup.
Okay, that's all I need to know, and then I'll catch up with you.
So you said first we're cutting up to make, like, what are we cutting up? You've got stuff cut up already, but I need to catch up to you. Barbara?
Okay,
You're
so
doing onion?
food processor. I have tomatoes, onions, pepper, and I have tomato sauce.
Okay.
So I've got all that. I'm going to blend it all together.
Catch up. So blend it all together, and then cook it, because you're just making this thick sauce, right? So I should have brought the heavy duty food processor in. Now, Barbara, can you cook this a little bit and then blend it, or it's always blend it and then cook it?
Do the Africans use a blender?
I think yes, they do. They use a blender.
I think you can't hear me when the blender's running.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do in my pan, I'm going to add a little oil at the bottom.
Barbara, you're gonna have to give us a second to catch up, me at least a second to catch up,
Okay.
because I don't have any of that stuff cut up.
If you had cut all that up.
Yeah, I cut a lot of stuff up.
So basically, we're cutting up, let's see, tomatoes, the onion, what else?
The pepper.
And then you blended it all, and then you cook it down.
Yeah. Then we're going to cook it down.
Now, how much do you want to blend it? Do you want it really, really smooth, or some chunks, or?
No, I don't want chunks. I want it pretty smooth. Although the peppers, like I am using the jalapeno, so I can see some of the green. It didn't get all, perfectly smooth.
All right.
And then also, I didn't add the garlic, and I actually had minced quite a bit of garlic before. And so I'm just going to add that to there, the garlic in there. And I thought I had, ginger powder, which I don't have, but what I do have in the refrigerator is this kind of paste, Indian paste that has garlic and ginger, so I'm gonna add a little bit of that. But really, quite frankly, if you just had some ginger powder, that would be fine. I mean,
Yeah, I like to use that ginger garlic paste. You get it from Indian groceries.
yeah, that's what I'm going to do because I don't have the ginger. So I'm just gonna add that to this mixture.
So do you always do the fresh ingredients and then cook it, or do you ever cook it and then blend it?
No, you have to cook it first. I mean, that's how the Africans do. They blend it and then they cook it down. Because this is the base for your stew. Let me see where the, well, I think I
So let's see. All
put
right,
that thing.
so can of tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, and onions.
Now, the Africans, they use fresh tomatoes. They don't use, I'm gonna use the rest of this.
So yeah, like using canned just shortens the process.
Well, you know something, I've seen different cooking shows where people use canned tomatoes, and they said that actually it works out pretty well. You know, on Test Kitchen and stuff, they say actually it works out really good. So I can't really, you know, comment, because I do think that the canned tomatoes are nice. I think the diced tomatoes are not as good.
Well, some of these canned tomatoes, like this one I bought, let's see if it says it on here. 8 hours from picking to canning.
What are you saying?
And on this can of tomatoes, it says 8 hours from picking to canning.
Oh.
But you're actually, the canned tomatoes are almost fresher than the you know, the fresh ones we get, because we fresh
Well, I
ones.
use both. I use fresh tomato. I use canned tomatoes. I did those diced tomatoes. I used, you know, jalapeno pepper. I used ginger and garlic. And anything else? Oh, I had a little bit of sweet pepper, onion, yeah. So I have it all in there. And now I'm gonna put it in the pan and start cooking it down.
All right.
So if you don't mind, can I do that now?
Yep. I
Okay.
just blended mine.
Oh, good. It's looking great. It looks good. I'm glad you have a blender.
Oh, this is a good one. So I've got an onion and tomato, but I'm gonna double this, you know, of course, doubling it because I'm gonna make a meat one and a veggie one.
The thing is, I'm doing.
Now, did you add garlic to yours, or we're adding that later?
What did you say?
Did you add your garlic to yours, or you're adding that later?
I know, I added it. It
Okay.
was minced garlic. I added it. And then also your ginger.
Oh yeah, I need to put ginger.
Oh, yeah.
Where's the little scooper go?
Well, I've been gone for a month and my ginger is pretty dried up. Let's see here. No, it's still pretty good. And so you're just cooking down that tomato. Now, the few other times I made African food, they cook that tomato like forever, it seemed like.
And with your help, definitely.
Oh,
So I'm adding fresh ginger.
You didn't think it was. I
here.
And then poblano. My tomatoes are already simmering. That's quick. I think it's just because it's so thick.
I'm gonna put the lid on it.
I actually don't think if I put this whole can in there that it'll fit.
See that candy? You can put that in the garbage.
So what are you guys working on now?
Oh, I've just got the thing on the stove to cook. And Jane is kind of washing things in the sink.
So how long do you cook it for?
I'm sorry, what?
How long do you cook it for?
We're gonna cook it, for a while, because it's gonna, cook down. And now as for the shrimp powder, we're gonna put that in a little bit later.
Don't have a reception.
No, we don't, unfortunately.
So while this cooks, I guess we're gonna make the fufu, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's cooking down, because, when that cooks down, we're gonna add the spinach. We're gonna add the meat. We're gonna add all the other ingredients.
Okay, I have
Now,
fresh
if you have
spinach.
beef, if you had beef, for instance, now the Africans would cook that in a separate pot. And then add it later, because that takes a bit longer, like chicken, for instance, is really quickly cooked.
So I have fresh spinach, so I probably need
Okay,
a,
wait, I can't hear. What
I
you
have
say?
fresh spinach, so I need to cook that down, right?
Yes, if you have fresh spinach, you need to have a pot of boiling water.
Okay,
And then you put your spinach in it, but you don't keep, you get rid of it right away, and you bring it out right away. Because what you're doing is, you're just taking the tannin out of the spinach. And then after you get it out, you rinse it with cold water, because you haven't really cooked it. And then you're gonna squeeze it so that it's really squeezed, try to get all the water squeezed out of it. Now, I have taken mine out of the freezer.
now
And,
have you ever used canned spinach or always just frozen?
no, you wouldn't use it because it's too slimy.
Okay,
And you use the fresh, have to use the fresh, or the frozen. Frozen is good. Now, last night I went and got some more frozen, but I did have fresh, which I had already chopped up and put, you know what I mean, in the boiling water. But it was a combination of the spinach and kale. So that's what I'm gonna use at the end on that.
so because I'm making a double batch, I put more, but so we've got garlic, onions, fresh tomatoes, canned tomatoes, and ginger. I think that's it, right?
Uh-huh. Oh, no, and pepper. What about you? Did you put your pepper in there?
I did not. What kind of pepper?
Well, you wanted to use jalapeno pepper. You like it hot.
Oh, no, I put some fresh peppers in there. I did.
Okay, yeah. And I put like 2 jalapenos in there in mine, because I know that they're not really hot. And Jane just told me, oh, it seemed too hot to her. And
didn't say it
I
was
can hardly
too
taste
hot.
the pepper.
Yes, it's hot, Barbara.
Let me taste it.
I can hardly taste the pepper, so I
Oh,
don't know.
it's got a zing to it.
Yeah,
Being
has
fresh,
to
it's got
have
a
a zing
zing
to
to
it like that. Lulu, what you doing? What you
I'm
doing?
madly chopping my garlic. So I've got my garlic, my onion, sweet pepper, fresh tomato, and I've yet to open the can, and I haven't blended it all yet. So I've got some catching up to do.
So I didn't
Oh,
even
okay.
chop the garlic because my blender just emulsified it.
Well, I just want to let you guys know that I bought a garlic press from the dollar store. It was only $1, and somehow it just didn't work. So I ordered one from Amazon. It was about $6, and it is so good. It has a little tray that goes inside of it like this, and then you put the garlic in there and you press it. I mean, it works so good. It's unbelievable, and it was about $6 on Amazon.
But it takes forever to clean. I hate mine.
Oh, this one, it's a little tray that you take out.
And you're supposed to be able to put them, it's skin and all. You don't have to get it out of the skin when you use a press. I've never done it, but that's what I've heard.
Oh, this
Okay.
is so easy.
That would, for me, it would be worth it just for that.
Yeah, if you leave the skin on, it makes it easier to clean because you just sort of pull the skin out when you get finished.
Okay, well, I'll try that. It'd be worth it just for that. Now, is there any other type of greens you would use instead of spinach?
I have a combination, I had a combination of a package of kale and spinach. So I use that, and I think it'll work fine.
Yeah, because
No,
I actually looked through and I have a lot of canned greens like collard greens, turnip greens, mustard greens, but no spinach in can. But you said not to do can.
Yeah, don't use, yeah, you can't use canned. And, well, right now I'm gonna start getting ready to use this, FuFu. I'm gonna start making FuFu.
All right, so what do I need to do?
While the tomato is cooking, and see, I have the same thing. See? Cocoa yam.
Okay.
Cocoa yam, FuFu. And,
That's
I think it's could you read the directions here, Jane? But I think it's 1 cup and 1 cup.
Oh.
1 cup water and 1 cup, or 1 cup boiling water and stuff.
well, mine says a half a cup flour and 3/4 cup water.
2 parts water,
Okay, so it's 2 cups.
1 part. So 2
Okay.
cups water, 1 cup FuFu.
Now this tomato mixture I got, it's really boiling like nobody's business. I wanted to reduce, so I guess I'll just leave the top off.
Yeah, I've cooked with a few different African dishes, and it was always like you cook the tomato forever. I always thought you cooked it until you couldn't taste that it was tomatoes.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Well, what?
No, just,
There it is.
you know, I'm gonna give you part of this tomato for
Yeah.
yours, and we're gonna put it in this pan.
Oh.
And,
you're making one.
Now, how much food should I make? 2 cups of 2 cups of water and 1 cup
1
of.
cup.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna start the FuFu now. We're gonna do 2 cups of boiling water. That's the first thing I'm gonna do in the pan. 2 cups of boiling water.
Now, how about this? I just cooked my spinach, and that water is boiling. Can I use that water?
Oh, no, you throw it out. Hurry up and take your spinach out of there real quick. You don't want it to cook. And use.
Why would I throw it out?
Well, you can do whatever you want with it, but you can't use it for this dish.
Okay.
So get that spinach out of there.
It feels like I'm wasting that fresh the
The vitamins and stuff, right? But it has tannin like tea, and Africans don't want the tannin in their cooking. So
okay.
take it out real quick, and then you got to squeeze it all out.
But does that only apply to spinach or other greens?
I've only seen them do it for spinach, but there's some other greens that are kind of bitter, and they always soak that, and then they have, a certain method that they have for, that real bitter leaf that they use in their cooking. Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, when I lived down in the Caribbean, they had callaloo, and those were really bitter, and you always did that. You would cook it and then dump off the water to like get the bitter out.
The first time we made callaloo when I was sailing in the Caribbean, we didn't know how to do it, so we used the stems, and then we went to eat it. It was like fiberglass.
And then it's extremely slimy. I remember the first time I had callaloo that it was extremely slimy. That I made it myself, not someone else made it. And then they talked to me. They're like, take the stems off, you cook it, and you pour off the water. All right, so I probably pull this pot to the front so we can see it. So I'm heating up this
It's still frozen.
water for the.
Maybe you can
So on here it says add the half a cup of FuFu flour in a saucepan.
Just get it out of the way.
So maybe I should do it in the actual. This, my little frying pan instead of a,
Hey, guys, I'm gonna have to run out. I have to drive a friend to the airport.
all right.
So I will watch this later and I will make it later. So I'm very excited.
Well, join us afterwards so we can take a tour of your garden.
Yeah.
More than happy to. All right, see you later. Bye.
All right. So I'm heating up water in the back of the stove here. And then my little saucepan. So do you have any tricks on making fufu?
I hope I can do it. I mean, you know, an African,
You told me how to do it.
The the Africans can do it, but it's not easy. Not easy at all. So I'm hoping that I'll be okay to do it.
So it says, the directions on here says, bring a cup of water to boil, divide the water into 2 parts. Add a half a cup of flour in the pan and stir and gradually add the remaining water. You basically want to make it smooth but thick.
Okay, I'll tell you something. One of the secrets of making fufu is this thing. It's a wooden spoon. It's a heavy wooden spoon. I mentioned that in the recipe. You gotta have a heavy wooden spoon, because what we're gonna do is after we pour the flour in, we're gonna beat that thing like this, so there isn't any lumps. And I'll tell you something, it's not easy. But you see the African women do it, they can do it so smooth and so good.
How about that?
What is that?
Oh, I don't know. I use it for mashing potatoes.
Okay, well, what you need for the fufu is something like a wooden spoon.
Let's see. Almost everything I have is stainless here. Let's see here. Man, it's starting to get hot in here. This is simmering away. So I'm going to do a double batch. But
Anyway.
so this is just, let me read in.
Oh, good. So Jane says she's gonna help me to beat the fufu.
So this one says the ingredients are mashed plantain, potato granules, cassava, saffron, and turmeric for spice.
Now, if I was if I didn't have Jane here to make I would go ahead and add my dried shrimp paste. Now, but since she's a vegan, I can't add that. So I'll add that after I separate the tomato.
So you would normally add the shrimp paste into the tomato?
Yes, I do.
All right.
And I add about a tablespoon.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't have a choice but to buy this bag here. I think this might make,
It's too much for I'm sure, but maybe you'll use it another time.
I don't know. I can smell it through the bag.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
boy.
product of Gambia. Did I say?
From Gambia? Oh my, it probably has a lot of shrimp in it, huh?
Let's see. How much does it weigh? 200 grams. Yeah, this fufu is really lumping up.
Oh, it is, you gotta stir it to make sure that it is cooking, you know, cooking down. Oh, here's more of it. Okay, now I'm gonna separate that part of it because we're not gonna use we're not gonna use all of it right now, so let's see. I'll put this up.
So are you gonna divide yours into two versions, a vegan and a meat one or shrimp one?
Okay, yes.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Over there. Now, I said that I usually like butter, but because Jane is a vegan, we can't use butter, so I'm gonna use a little bit of olive oil.
So where do you add that to?
Right now, I'm adding that to the water for the fufu.
Okay, so you like adding a little butter to it.
I like butter, but I'm gonna add a little olive oil to it, but, oh, sorry, Jane. could you-
All right.
Okay, where's my scissors?
Man, these tomatoes are boiling away.
Well, that's good. I mean, mine is boiling away too, but it hasn't gotten thick yet, like it's supposed to.
I wonder if, I mean, you're trying to thicken it. I almost get, it's like the tomatoes are separating. I almost could scoop some of the water out of it.
Is yours getting pretty thick?
No, it's not.
Okay, because mine's still too watery.
My fufu's getting thick.
But
Slowly,
Oh,
slowly.
have you started your fufu already?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm just starting mine.
Let me know and I will.
Can you? Okay, I'm gonna, I gotta do a cup. Oh, here.
So
Okay, no, let me start it.
I've been slowly adding.
I'm sorry,
I put half of the water in there boiling and then the other half.
Okay, you start, or you go ahead and start it, and I'll start beating it.
But yeah, it is very lumpy. I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, start pouring in the other water.
Right.
Oh, hurry. The other water.
I'm sweating.
Now you beat it.
Okay, I'll be
Beat it real hard.
I will.
Right.
No, not stir it, beat it. Here, I'll show you what beating looks like. You beat it against the side of the pan.
Like, don't mess around. Beat it. Beat it.
See?
Like that. Okay.
Get all those lumps out.
What kind of pot are you using? Oh, you're using like a saucepan. Makes it easier to beat it, I guess.
Do it over the heat. See, Jane is doing it, it's not easy, it's hard. She's beating it, we're trying to get all those lumps out, and at the same time cooking it.
Can I just toss it in the blender? So yeah, all this tomato juice, I wonder if I can scoop some of this tomato juice out.
Let me I'll take over.
As we're trying to thicken it. Like when I make fresh tomatoes, I like cooking them and then I end up with a lot of.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Those African
Yeah.
women, they just can beat this thing and they're so strong.
All right, I'm taking some of this.
I find it very hard, and mine is a little bit lumpy.
Mine's a
Oh my
lot lumpy.
Oh my.
The two of us were trying, and this is what it looks like. See?
Looks pretty bad.
Don't say it. Okay, let's have
What's
it.
yours look like, Laura?
Mine looks like a very, very extremely lumpy gravy.
Oh, no, it can't be lumpy. It's supposed to be smooth.
I know.
Why don't you add some more?
How about something like a steel, like a whisk? You got a big, strong steel whisk?
Let's see.
Actually, mine is no, it's a little bit lumpy, but it's not that lumpy. And we're gonna add a little bit more boiling water to it.
A bigger whisk if you've got it, so you can really whip through the whole pot.
Well, unfortunately, I need a deeper pot. See, I can't really.
See, this is the hardest part of the stew. The rest of it is just adding things, so it's easy. Oh, boy. I told you, Jane said, oh, she can do it, but you know, it's not that easy to do.
There.
But
I'm
you can
taking
do
some
it.
of the juice off the
You have to
tomatoes.
stir it rather than
That's
beat
really
it.
helping.
I didn't know about eating it.
But mine actually is not that lumpy. It's really thick. And hurry, let's get a little bit more water in here. Boy, my arm is tired. We'll put a little bit more in there. Not all of it, just a little. Okay, fine.
And stir. I love stirring.
You can't stir it. It's not a stirring. Stirring thing, it's a beating thing.
You want more water?
No, I think I'm okay. Mine looks pretty good. We added a little bit more water to it, and it does not have the lumps. Okay. So let's get a bowl. Let me see. Let me see this bowl here. This is a good one. So I'm going to add all this FuFu to this bowl. Do you want to do that?
Okay.
Try to get, put it all in there. Just, try to get it in there.
Oh man, the sauce tastes amazing.
Well, the sauce isn't even half finished yet. Let's get the rest of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to get that, get everything off here. Just you can. Go ahead, do it. More better. Turn off. Get that pan off the heat. Get that on here. Because I want it. Okay.
What consistency is it supposed to be? Like thicker than mashed potatoes or?
Well, it's glutinous. Okay, now I have the FuFu in this little pan. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my hand in water, and I am going to make it smooth on top and around. So it looks like appetizing.
Could you get a close-ups to show us or just explain it better? Are you just making like you're putting it in a bowl?
Turn more like bread dough.
All right, so I might as well, because I'm going to this potluck, I might as well use this whole package so I don't.
Somehow there's some tomato got in here.
Yeah.
I don't want any tomato in here.
Did I pour that out?
Let's see. So it just needs to be the consistency of like bread dough.
Oh, yeah.
Now in the drawer, there is a cellophane. Get this out, and we're gonna cover it with that. Okay, I want to show this stuff right. Okay, everybody, here's my FuFu in a bowl.
Okay.
And Jane, we're gonna put saran wrap on the top. Now, I did make it a little bit smooth because I put my hand in water and then I tried to smooth it out. There really aren't that many lumps in it, but I didn't get it as smooth like an African does. But here it is. And they'll take a little bit of it in their hand and dip it in the soup. So we haven't even done the soup yet. Okay. Around.
So the FuFu, it doesn't really have any taste, huh?
Now, the more you make, like if you made 4 cups or something like that, what you want to do, you're gonna have to beat that thing. And when you beat it, it's not, you don't turn it around, like stir it around. No, you have to beat it against the side of the pan. Okay, it looks like my tomato mixture is getting thicker. I see that it is getting thicker.
Now I took some of my, I took about a cup of juice out of mine.
What?
I went ahead and took about a cup of juice out of mine to speed it up.
So have you started to beat your FuFu yet?
Just like, I'm gonna try again. The first batch came out too lumpy.
I mean, it is not easy at all. It's hard. That's the hardest part of the whole meal is this trying to do the FuFu. But you've got to beat it like this against the side of the pan. And you got to make sure that there's no lumps. And then you add a little bit more boiling water, you know what I mean, in it, and you keep on beating it. Now, my FuFu is not as smooth and nice as an African woman would be.
All right, I'm gonna try it in a bigger pan this time.
We're gonna, use that pan for your soup. So that's why I don't have that many pans.
Yeah.
I figure because I'm going to this potluck, I might as well cook up the whole box of FuFu.
I think so. Good luck with pounding it, though. Anyway, I hope you still have an arm at the end. Because it's well, you're a strong guy though. But like Jane was doing it, but she wanted to stir it. I said, no, you don't stir it, you beat it. You have to beat it against the side of the pan. You beat it real heavy and hard. If you stir it, you'll have lumps.
Yeah, but I end up, my first batch is pretty lumpy. It doesn't. So I'm gonna try it again in this.
What makes it lumpy? Is it a starch stuff or what
Yeah,
is it?
it's a carbohydrate,
Very
it's
starchy,
starch, and it forms lumps. So you really got to beat those lumps out of it. You know,
But the
in
starch-
the traditional village, they have these big mortar and pestles that are real big. They're not little small ones you see in our kitchen, but they're real big, and they stand over it with these big pounding sticks. And then they put, plantain and different kinds of things, and they start pounding, you know what I mean? Until they get it really smooth. And it's delicious, I will tell you. But then, it takes on the taste of your soup, whatever your soup is.
What
they still-
kind of soup do you put it into?
We're doing Egusi soup. But we're doing the base of the Egusi soup right now, and we're waiting for the tomato to get more thickened. And then we're going to start adding the other things.
I said it doesn't taste like anything.
What'd you say, hon?
FuFu doesn't taste like anything much.
Oh, it's just a filler.
But this tomatoes.
That's what you're gonna dip that in the soup, so it's more like bread.
Yeah.
Or like grits claws or something like that, right?
Man, I just cleaned my kitchen really good, and now I got tomato stuff all over.
Now you got a mess. Boy.
So what's the next step, Barbara?
We're about ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, our tomatoes has pretty much thickened. So I'm going
Do you
to.
want to bring it over to the sleep?
Do you want to bring the thing over and look at it that way?
We need to plug this in, Barbara.
Not yet. Okay, down further. Okay, here it is. See, our tomato mixture is pretty thick. So now I'm going to divide it for Jane, so she is going to finish her part.
So the vegan version, how are you making that one?
Well, we're going to do the same thing, except we're not going to add any meat. We're not going to use any shrimp paste. So can you help me here?
All right. So I'm ready to divide it up. And I do have 2 packages of Egusi, so.
Okay, so I'm adding, now right now to mine, I'm adding shrimp paste. And I'm gonna add some chicken.
But let's see, you just said 1 tablespoon or not very much shrimp.
Well, yeah, about a tablespoon. I just guessed, I didn't measure. Okay,
So let me divide mine into 2 pots here.
now I'm gonna. I have some pieces of chicken, uncooked chicken breast, I'm adding that. And I also have some chicken breast that's already cooked, but I'm gonna add that a little bit later, because it's already cooked. So I've added, the chicken in there right now, so it'll cook in the tomato sauce.
Should I add my mushroom?
So in the vegan one, you were putting mushrooms, you said.
Yeah, but I think, okay, go ahead and add it. Add your mushroom. Okay, we're gonna add, she's gonna add her mushrooms now into that.
Oh, this tomatoes is amazing. You just said just a little bit of the shrimp. You could overdo it really quickly. I can quite literally smell that shrimp before I even open the bag.
But shrimp and chicken together? Was this only there for the salty taste?
Yeah.
But
I think you need to add a little bit. I was thinking maybe add a little bit of water.
I don't want
now you said the actual shrimp you put in there, I shouldn't put whole shrimp. I should cut it up. These are pretty small, actually. I think I'll just put them in whole. But yes, I mean, these are pretty small shrimp.
Oh, were they, kind of like small shrimps?
Yep.
Yeah, that would be fine. Those are nice. They have a really good flavor. I got mine in the Spanish store and it's called shrimp powder or something, you know.
Well, I got the shrimp powder, but we also put whole shrimp.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would be nice, especially even dried shrimps. They, you know, Africans, they put everything in there. They can put, they put meat and fish and, you know what I mean? They put all kinds of things in their soup.
Well, I could have got
yeah,
dried shrimp too.
yeah, they don't say, oh, well, like in, you know, American cooking, we say, okay, it's only chicken, we put in, or it's only shrimp, you know, whatever. They don't do that. They just put all combinations of stuff.
But
Yeah,
shrimp
and
and
then-
chicken together? I cannot
Yeah.
quite vision that. Shrimp and chicken together? Yucky.
Now, Jane, she's got mushrooms in hers, and I have a little bit of chopped up chicken breast, and then I'm gonna add chicken that's already been cooked. I had some. I'm gonna add that to it, then I'm gonna add the shrimp.
So far, we haven't put any Egusi in.
No, we haven't. We put that at the very end.
So is it
We're
a
gonna
soup?
put, after we get everything, you know what I mean, in our tomato base, then we're gonna add the spinach, and we're gonna add the egusi, and then we're gonna let that cook. So we're almost finished with this soup. But the spinach and the egusi go at the end.
Well, let's see. The other one, the vegan one, I'm not adding chicken, so I could add the shrimp and Egusi now to it, right?
Well, you know, if it's vegan, you can't add
Yeah,
shrimp.
no shrimp.
I didn't mean shrimp. I meant Egusi and spinach.
Okay. I'm trying to look, what, it looks like you've got some white stuff in there. What do you have in there?
That's shrimp.
Oh, that's it. Oh, but that's not the vegan one.
The vegan one's the bigger pot.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, what you can do now, is your tomato mixture pretty good?
Oh, it's phenomenal tasting.
Oh, okay, so now I want you to add your shrimp, your spinach. Make sure that there's no water in it. So just, you know, add it, it's kind of dry. You add your spinach, and then on top of that, you add your egusi. And then you cover it and let it cook.
All right.
Now, if it looks like it's too dry, then you add a little bit of water, or you can add a little more oil. Did you add any oil to your
Oh, no, I never did.
Okay, then if it's a vegan, please add some add peanut oil or add olive oil or vegetable oil, something like that. You need to add a little oil to it.
So, question, I'm playing catch up, and regretfully, I don't have FuFu, but I kind of Googled real quick and did substitute, and you can use wheat flour as a substitute. Says when
You can try that.
But my question was, their directions weren't very clear. It's something like boil water, take some of the water out, start adding the flour, stir vigorously.
And you
And
gotta
then-
beat it.
Yeah, and then add some hot water back into it.
Right. Now, as a vegan, we added a little bit of olive oil to the water. Just makes it a little smoother. Now, you could, if I'm alone, I will add butter. I'll
Okay.
add about a tablespoon of butter to my water, and it gives that a better flavor to me. I like it.
Okay,
But she's a vegan, so we didn't add any butter. We added some olive oil.
so add the butter prior to
So
adding,
to the boiling, when the water starts to boil, then drop your butter in there.
and then the flour.
And then do the flour.
Now, do you add the flour gradually? Because I was busy getting my other stuff ready when you guys did that portion of it.
Well,
I
you
would
can
say
add
very
that
much so.
gradually.
It'll lump up if you do it too quick.
Okay,
That was my problem is my first batch, I added the flour too quickly and it lumped up. All right. What is? That is beautiful. All right. Lowest setting. I think-
Yeah.
Barbara, I think we're almost done, aren't we? Just now you just let it slow cook for the spinach.
Yeah, it won't cook very long either. You just have to watch it to make sure that, you know, you need it's in consistency of soup, because you're gonna eat that with your FuFu. You don't want it too watery. You don't want it too thick. You want it just medium, so that if you dip your FuFu in there, you can, you know, you have your soup too.
That has a depth of flavor. Wow.
Oh, and you know, we didn't add any salt either, so we might want to do a salt and pepper thing.
All right.
Oh, no, that's not this.
Now I just have to make some more FuFu. So, any final questions? There's my 2 batches. I've got a vegan version and I've got one with shrimp powder, shrimp, and chicken in it. So, any
I just
final
said-
words, Barbara?
She's cooking. I just remember when I grew up in a restaurant and my dad used to
Not too much.
make mashed potatoes and he took a big stainless steel whip to whip those potatoes to get rid of lumps.
Now
I
you
wonder
just
if I
have
could
to
use it, my
just-
flour mixer here to do it.
Do you have with the whip attachment? Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I've got the whip attachment.
That might do it.
Let me give that a try.
it seems like you have a lot.
I can make a big batch. Trying to organize my little teeny kitchen here.
Okay, now where's the food?
All right.
Oh, I
Or
mean,
the
that's- we're having the Egusi now.
Yeah.
All right, Barbara.
Here. I'm adding the Egusi now to my soup. I added spinach, now I'm adding the Egusi.
All right. The goosey, I tasted it. It doesn't really have much flavor. It's mainly a thickener, right?
Right. Now, the African way is that they don't really mix, they let it cook. They don't really mix the Egusi in a lot, you know what I mean? They don't really stir it in a lot, because they want to see pieces of the Egusi in it.
So
And
you,
to be
it's
quite
almost
honest,
like a decoration. Do you serve it in the bowl and then just sprinkle some goosey on top, or it's always in the pot?
You see, they don't do that like that. They'll put a top on, and you need more water.
Oh, no, not so much water.
No, but just a little. Now I'm gonna let it cook. See, they don't really mix it in like what you do.
Oh, yeah.
See, they want to have pieces of the Egusi, stand out. Now, I'm gonna let it cook. You've seen how I've done it,
Yeah.
but it'll still have the same taste.
Yeah, but I can't figure out.
Oh, boy.
What?
Jay,
I screwed up.
you want to put this more
Yeah,
Egusi in there?
It's not all mixed in.
Well, Jane made a mistake and went and mixed up everything. And Africans don't do it that way.
I
They
did,
like to have the spinach and the Egusi to be cooked, but not blended in.
so like I have it where I just have it on the top.
Right, and now you might have to add a little bit of water if it's too thick, and then you just let it cook for a little while.
I made the mistake. I didn't stir it yet. So I guess I did a good mistake, but oh, this stuff is nice. Look at this.
What is it?
FuFu.
Oh, for your FuFu. Oh, yeah, it looks pretty good.
Chunks
Oh,
of
yeah.
FuFu.
Now, you know that big ball that you had in your hand like that?
Yeah.
That's about how much they use when they get it to their mouth.
So what do you do? Just take a little ball and dip it in the
No,
sauce?
not little one, well, maybe half of that big ball that you have,
Okay.
because it's enough to go into your hand and then you dip it. Not little teeny pieces.
So, all right. Any final? You want to show us how to eat one, or?
Well, mine isn't done yet.
Okay, it's all right.
But Jane, why don't you bring my computer over and we take a look at what they look like? See, you didn't cover yours either.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, that's okay. Just you need to cover it. See, okay, now show mine. Okay, but then you've shown me. You showed me.
There we
There
go.
it is. See, mine is cooking.
Yep.
So that's and I'm not gonna mix it all around. I'm gonna let it continue just to cook like that. See,
How
Uh,
long
you-
do you cook it for?
probably maybe another 5 minutes or so,
Oh, okay.
5 minutes or 10
Because
minutes.
I mean, all you're trying to do is cook the spinach down, right?
Right. Okay, now here is Jane's,
Oh,
right
no.
here. Jane's a vegan one. Let me see,
Yeah.
get to it here.
It looks better actually, because it's got all the stuff on the top, not mixed in.
That's because I added a second batch of stuff on
Of
top.
Egusi. Okay, here, I want, because I want the Egusi to actually cook.
Yeah.
So here, and she added a lot more spinach than I have. Okay, so go ahead, Jane, and look and see. You guys see hers?
Yep.
Okay, I need to put a lid on
Just
here.
behind this a bit.
Since we're still, almost within the hour, why don't we wait until Barbara's is finished and then she could show us how to eat it? I'd rather have the whole experience through her than cut it short to keep it to an hour.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, we just have to wait a little bit longer. and then
So Barbara, to fill the time, you want to tell us a story about how you ended up 20 years in Africa?
Well, can I ask a quick question? Because I'm still cooking.
Yep.
How does this look? It's not near the amount of flour or water, but is this how thick you want it?
Well, R, can you make it so that I can see it? Make it big so I can see it.
Let's see here. I can spotlight her.
Yeah,
Maybe?
spotlight her, so I can see what she's doing. Oh,
So that's flour and water, basically.
well, actually, it looks pretty darn good.
Does it
Look
need
how,
it?
look how smooth it is and everything. It's smoother
Well,
than
I
mine.
followed the directions of adding some, whipping it, adding some, and I did
Uh-huh.
use the whisk till I couldn't do anymore.
Okay, yeah,
Is that the good thickness or should it be a little?
yeah,
thicker?
it's perfect.
Now
okay.
what do I do with this? Just-
Okay, now you take it out of the pan, and
Okay,
with your hands, in cold water, you take it out and put it in a bowl. Okay, and then with your hands in cold water, you smooth it up.
okay.
Did you see that, R? Hers turned out really good.
Yeah, but hers is flour.
Yeah, that's true.
It makes it a little easier. I'm just making a mess. But I mean, I don't know. It looks okay. Just look.
R, what do you have in your hand there? Let me see.
Oh.
Your hand looks all sticky and everything.
Yeah, it's still too sticky.
Uh-huh. Well, no, I mean, if you put your hand in water and then smooth it out, you see,
All right.
then it'll be fine.
Okay, so I'm just smoothing it with wet hands,
Yeah,
like so. It is sticky.
yeah. Okay, and then put a little plastic wrap over it or something, because you're going to finish your soup.
It's still warm. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
So Barbara, you want to tell us an African story?
Well, you asked me how I went to Africa, and I always wanted, I mean, this was during the 60s, the civil rights movement and all that. And my father was a racist. And so I went the other direction, and I always thought that I wanted to go to Africa. And I was at San Francisco State, and I did get chosen to go to Sierra Leone as a Peace Corps worker, but I
Ooh.
decided to go for a master's.
At the Rotary conference I just went to, I might go with Peace Corps because they've got a program where you can go for just a couple months as a professional.
Oh, nice.
So you went for like 2 years?
No, I didn't go at all.
Oh,
I
okay,
decided-
sorry.
They sent me a ticket to go to Panama to train, and I decided, I'm going to go for my master's degree instead. So I went for my master's, and then I taught for 2 years in San Francisco, and then I went to Africa on my own. And in those days, it was the Vietnam War and so forth, and I was so against the American government that I didn't want to represent the American government as a Peace Corps person in those days. And so I went on my own. I went to Ghana. I ran out of money, and I went to the American school, and they said, "Oh, we need a 5th grade teacher." I said, "Oh, fine, I'm here," because I was a certified teacher. And so then I worked at the American school in Ghana for a year.
But that was just 1 year. You said you stayed
Just
for
1 year,
20.
right? And then I went back to the United States, and I said, "Oh, I miss Africa so much. I'm going back." So I went back, but this time I went to Nigeria. And it was a big thing in Nigeria for it was like a gold rush days, because they had just discovered oil. And, you know, it was like, oh, every third world country was trying to get ships into Nigeria to sell them anything, you know, all kinds of stupid little toys. And you know, everything was on the market. And people loved to dance in Nigeria. They had a party for everything. They had street parties and all that. And I just loved it. I just thought it was just the greatest thing. And because I love to dance, and I had a Nigerian friend, and we just went to all the street parties. And usually at the end of a street party, I'd walk away with about $100 in my pocket, because in Nigeria, they spray money where they like, you know, to see you dance or whatever like that. They just, you know, they put money on you. So I usually was making money every time I went to dance in the streets, you know.
So you were a go-go dancer in the streets?
Yeah, you could say that.
Just like you were a street. I mean, you weren't working the corner, you were working the street. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, and you know, I kept on extending my visa. I had a tourist visa. I kept on extending it. I extended it 3 times. And the third time I went into immigrations, and the head of immigrations told me, well, he would extend it for me, but I'd have to sleep with him. So, oh my goodness, he was so ugly. I said, no, I cannot do that. Although, you know what I mean? I was a free spirit and all that. But if he had been handsome, that might have been something else. He was so ugly, you know what I mean? I said, no. And so I went back to the US to try to get, you know, get another visa. And I ended up married a Nigerian, Mr. Elegbede, whom I'd only known for a week and a half. And I had told him, I said, you know, I need a green card for Nigeria. So I need to get married to a Nigerian. So sure enough, we got married.
I didn't expect I'm asking this, and you were a wild woman.
Oh yeah, in those days, you know, I'm 70, almost 78 now, you know, but in those days, oh my goodness, yes, I was a wild one, you know. I was having a lot of fun. I was a hippie from the Haight-Ashbury, and although I tried different kinds of drugs and everything, drugs was not a thing for me. And I had, on the 6th time I took acid, I had a bad trip, and that was it for me. I said, no more drugs. No more drugs.
I don't want to put into your story, but I think I've just figured out a hack to making FuFu.
Oh, you
Look at
did?
this.
Good for you.
In my mixer with this, 2 minutes,
You got it?
and it's a perfect, look at that, just perfect.
Wow.
I
Yes,
put it in the flour mixer and just hit it high speed, and it just like, look.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. Except that you needed a little bit of oil in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
next
But,
time I will, but I made some hot water, and I even have a little extra water back here just in case I needed more. But
and you use the dough hook, right?
no, I use this mixer one.
Oh, okay. Well, good for
Just at
you.
really high speed.
Yeah,
And
instead of beating the darn thing.
look at that. All right, you can go back to your wild stories again.
Yeah. So anyway, then I got like we call a green card for Nigeria. And my husband, Legbede, he didn't want to stay in Nigeria, so he went to France. And I was there by myself, and that's how I liked it. Because, you know, I didn't really.
You said you opened a bakery, right?
Yes, I worked for Philip Morris, and as an assistant to the managing director, and then I opened a little bakery. And I did wedding cakes and birthday cakes, and also English style pastries for weddings, like sausage rolls and Scotch eggs and things like that. And I employed 6
Scotch
people,
egg.
and I couldn't leave, because if I left, they'd steal everything there was to steal. So I couldn't go anyplace, you know what I mean? And I'd open the shop up, and then I'd go to Philip Morris, and then I'd come back at lunchtime just to check on, you know, how everything's going on right. And then after work, I'd come there. It was in the same area where I worked.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then I did different things for the American Embassy, like
Okay.
brownies and fruitcake.
Can you show me how you eat the FuFu?
Yes, we will.
Is
Let's
it
see. Let's check and see if
make a little plate and
yeah.
'cause, I mean,
Okay.
where did I learn I learned to eat with my hands. I think it was more Indian food, but I don't think I've done. Well, I mean, I've been to an Ethiopian restaurant, but they have the teff, right? Or the what, injera?
Injera bread.
Injera, so good.
Right.
Oh, I am going to. I don't know.
You show us that, and then we'll wrap up the recording.
Where's the water? Is it water? Yeah, I need some more water. Otherwise it's burning.
Yeah.
Where's the water?
So Lulu, you just threw yours together with stuff you had in your house,
Yeah, but-
Yeah, I'm way behind.
but you
My,
actually like didn't have to go buy special ingredients. You have such an international cupboard.
Well, I don't have the fish powder, but I have
A little bit more.
tomato flakes,
Little
which I'm
more.
thinking. I'm wondering if that
Well,
would be.
the shrimp powder is a
Oh,
flavor, so
shrimp powder. I thought she said fish powder, shrimp powder.
I mean it's just a flavor, so you can.
I actually just cleaned my shrimp, but I'm waiting for my chicken tenderloin to thaw. But
Yep.
so I have the shrimp, but I haven't put it in yet because I don't want it to overcook. But this guy's still rock hard. So I guess I could throw it in the microwave.
I really like the texture of this fufu.
I
It
have
doesn't
to
really have
like,
any flavor, but I keep eating it anyway.
Move everything.
and you're eating it
They
raw?
want you to eat it, sir.
Or
I
is
mean,
it
it's cooked,
because it's
but
been
with no,
boiled?
no, you're not, I'm not dipping it in the soup. So,
I hope mine's cooked. I've got a cold and I can't taste anything, so I really, everything is just texture to me right now, so.
oh, that's good.
Okay, now maybe we can adjust the screen there so that.
Now, when people eat it, do they just eat it communally? You just have one bowl for
Yeah,
everybody?
you could, or and not really, if you go to a restaurant, you'll be given your own. So, okay, so I'm taking, here. Here. Move that. I'm taking a little bit of the FuFu, see, the FuFu, and I'm dipping it in my soup, like this.
Well, I just got a message that my potluck is canceled. So I have a lot of food.
Oh no, the vegan potluck is canceled.
Mm,
We're having a heat wave here, so they decided it's too hot. I mean, it's, what do they call it? A heat warning? Where they say you shouldn't go outside, it's so hot.
Huh. That looks fascinating.
Well, here I am eating it, and it's delicious.
And you're eating the vegan one, right?
No, I'm going to eat the vegan one soon.
I'm curious, Barbie, you need to taste the vegan one and give us your opinion.
Mhm. Yeah, why don't you go and get your vegan one here?
Because we have a lot of people who are vegan.
The vegan one is good. I ate that first. The
Yeah, you did?
non-vegan one has that shrimp, which is really, you only put a tablespoon in the whole thing, but
And it was
Really?
shrimp powder. Show me your bottle, or I'm sorry to make you repeat things.
it's ground shrimp. So it's just a bag of ground shrimp.
And that's what you recommend, Barbara?
No, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I use shrimp powder that I got in the Mexican store,
Huh.
and I think his probably has more taste.
This one's actually says smoked shrimp from, what is it, Gambia? And it was so strong smelling, I could smell it through the plastic.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you something, my soup is really delicious.
So, all right. Any final questions?
Mm.
Yeah, how's the vegan taste?
Oh, Barbara, you're gonna taste the vegan one and tell us? I
No, I
tried the
haven't
vegan
tasted
one
the vegan.
first. I think if I tried this one first and then the vegan, it would be lackluster. But I tried the vegan one first. It was very flavorful. And then the non-vegan one, it had so much umami with the smoked shrimp powder that it just, well, let me try the
Yeah.
vegan one back.
I wonder if in the vegan one you could put something like a nori, you know, like a seaweed flavor to give it
Or
a little.
a smoked sauce. Okay, I'm
Right.
trying the vegan one again.
But I mean, if it's a seaweed, it would add that fresh oceany flavor plus nutrition.
The vegan one's really good. It doesn't have the texture of the shrimp and the chicken added to it, but as far as flavor goes, it's good.
So how small did you make your cuts of shrimp and chicken
It's good,
for?
isn't it?
I just cubed the chicken, but the shrimps are very small, so I just put them whole.
And the chicken went in raw, right? You cooked the chicken in.
Yeah,
the-
but I cubed it.
Okay.
Yeah, really small. Because I just wanted to cook. I was making so much. I wanted to cook it quickly.
So am I, other than the fish powder, am I missing anything, salt and pepper in the tomato, in the soup, the soup?
Well, I put salt and pepper in mine.
Okay, anything else? Because
Well, I
I
put
can-
ginger.
I put ginger. I put fresh ginger in mine.
Yeah, I
Oh,
put
good.
fresh. So,
Fresh ginger and garlic.
And then just, it's still.
You know
cooking.
something? I'm supposed to put thyme in, I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
How much time?
Oh, I'd
well,
say
about an hour.
a teaspoon or so,
A teaspoon, okay.
but I forgot to put thyme in it.
Well,
Alright.
time you get a lot more savory into it too. Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, even though I didn't put it, it sure does taste good.
And how's the vegan taste, Barbara? And Jane?
No, I'm eating the one that,
Well, we
Okay,
just
let's-
wanted to
We
see
want
what
your
you think, how they
opinion.
compare.
I'm eating the one with chicken and shrimp.
You don't want to try the vegan for,
Well, I did. I tried it. It tasted good.
oh, good. What do you
Alright.
think, Jane?
I'm gonna wrap up the recording. Any final words, Barbara? Thank you.
No, I-
This was fun.
Thank
I hope
you.
everybody enjoys. I wish there was more people.
Well, I got
No,
enough for like
fine.
20 people because I was making it for the potluck.
I have another question.
Go for it.
To
Now,
Barbara.
now what are you gonna do with it?
Laura has a question.
Yeah, why did you choose this recipe and not another one?
What?
Why did you choose this recipe?
I chose it because it's easy.
Yeah, it's fast.
I chose it because it's easy and it's different than what, Americans are used to.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it takes a while to cook the tomatoes down, but otherwise it's actually, I mean, you could be doing other stuff while that cooks down.
Yeah. I mean, my soup is delicious, so. And most Americans, we like what's in the ingredients. You know,
Well, I mean, you said you could put like any kind of meat in there. Like someone was saying before, they thought it was really strange, shrimp and chicken together, but you said any seafood, any meat.
And you're right, and even they might have smoked and dried shrimp, not shrimp, but smoked and dried fish.
Okay.
Creole food has all sorts of, chicken and
And
shrimp.
you mentioned beforehand, I mean, in the vegan one, I could have put squash or
Mm-hmm,
what, I guess I could put potatoes in it even. I mean,
mm-hmm.
if they were pre-cooked,
Yeah, but you'd want to put something that doesn't mash up.
right? That doesn't disappear when you cook it.
Right, or you put it at the end or something where you put it so it's cooked, but it still holds together.
Yeah.
So, I have yet to put the chicken and the shrimp in. When I put those in, they'll cook about the same speed if they're about the same size.
Yep.
Maybe the shrimp will cook a little quicker. When do I add the, what is it, egusi?
You add the spinach on top of the tomato mixture.
Don't mix it in?
Don't mix it in. Then you add, well, you can mix the tomato mixture into the spinach.
Just a little bit, not all the way.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay,
But
then
cook-
you add the
well,
egusi
cook-
right on top.
Okay, and then leave that just sitting on top?
Right, and then you want to add a little bit of water so that it actually mixes in.
Yeah, if need be.
Huh.
So,
But you want in your soup, you want to have this white glumps of egusi in your soup.
It's like dumplings, right? The American would call it chicken dumplings type stuff, right?
You must have liked that, Jane, huh?
I wonder, have you ever seen it? I've had a similar soup where it was the roasted pumpkin seeds and then they were just like chopped in half and that was it. It wasn't ground, fine ground.
And where did that come from?
I don't know. I just remember distinctly. I think maybe my mom just would do it. She would just, you know, she never wasted the seeds. She always roasted them. You didn't like it at all, did you?
Look, I ate the whole thing already.
There you go.
It was delicious.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
I'm gonna
feeling
finish
the pepper in my
recording.
mouth. Not
and then
not very much, but just a little thing of pepper in my mouth.
Usually if we always have, after we cook, we socialize, but this time we let the socialization on the recording because it was a little different way of eating.
Mhm.
So, it doesn't seem like your fingers get that dirty.
Well, I'm licking them
I don't
down.
know about you, but mine are like so dirty.
You know, like in Nigeria, when you go to a restaurant and you order pounded yam or, like this type of thing, they have they bring a little bowl for everybody for water.
To wash your
And
hands.
yeah, and sometimes they actually add lemon or something to the water, and that is for your hand.
Okay, just rinse it off every once in a while.
Yeah. And in Nigeria, just in Nigeria.
It's like a finger bowl in a fancy American restaurant.
Mm-hmm. And normally you eat with your right hand. You always eat, but I have a paralyzed hand and I can't eat that much with my right hand, so I use my left hand. But that is not a traditional thing to do. But I guess I'd be forgiven because I have a disability.
Well, similar in India, you're not supposed to use the left hand because it's dirty.
Right.
All right.
Because all toilet kinds of things take place with the other hand. And
All right, everybody, stick around and let's continue to socialize.
okay.
I'm gonna make all this and portion it out and put it in my porch fridge to give out to the
Can I have a little
community.
bit more?
So
We're gonna get a little
instead of going to
Because we don't have that much.
potluck, the community will get both a chicken shrimp version and a vegan version. So good deal.
Good. Good.
All right.